What the cognition problem is on the real.
This week, the Today Show had Travel Channel host Josh Gates on to reveal what Egyptian queen Nefertiti, considered by many to be the most beautiful woman in ancient Egypt, would have looked like in her day. Alongside Hoda Kotb, and Savannah, Gates unmasked what he called a, quote, very accurate 3D bust of Nefertiti, made through imaging and forensic reconstruction. Well, the internet immediately went in after many noticed that the bust didn't have beautiful brown skin like an Egyptian princess should.
First of all, the Egyptian princesses and queens were kept pale. You can look at all the wall art, and they're kept pale. It's a fair skin thing that they had going on. This is also 2 shades darker than the actual other statue is. The other one is reddened because it's covered with red ochre. This is, of course, not going to be painted with red ochre. They're trying to show you what the human looked like, not a red ochre statue. The other oddity here is that they talk bad about her lips, but if you'll look at the statue, when they show both of these lips are much fuller than the one on the original statue that they're bitching that this one doesn't look full as. Yep, cognition problems again. And the eyes. They're just a brownish color here, but in reality, if you look at the statue, it has a bluish hazel eye in it. One left, the other one's fallen out.
Silence right now with you guys is cray. People also thought like Hoda should have known better, considering she herself is an Egyptian American. The best tweet came from user @Rashida Sheeds, who said, quote, this is why it's important that we know our history from which we came. Nefertiti and the rest of the great pharaohs, kings, and queens from ancient Kemet, I believe that's how you say it, lands of the blacks, now known as Egypt, did not look like Susan from HR. Wow.
The terrible problem with that is that the girl, Rashida, is probably an African American, meaning that she comes from West Africa, and so it has nothing to do with her history. They have no genetic or any connection whatsoever to any East African black people, much less the Caucasian Egyptians that were there. She mentions Kemet and tries to throw out that means land of the blacks, and it doesn't. It means the black land. It's the black soil of the land, and it's got a symbol that means lands. It doesn't mean people. There's another symbol for that. And everybody's known this all along, but black people want to lie to each other and try to get themselves to believe somehow they were Egyptians. But of course, West Africans were nothing but West African primitives that caught and sold their own people like a drive-through slave mart, and they had nothing to do with any of the people over here. So, yeah.
Whoever did this is what she said.
Shame on them for not knowing reality. And what you have here is a Japanese woman and an admixed black girl, and then a solid black on the other side, and then a high admixed on the other side. This one.
So ladies, does this must look accurate to you, or do you think that maybe they should have done a little more research?
This is another...
Maybe they should do a little more research before they go yakety mouth and look terrible.
Job for Jamal the intern. Y'all should have all y'all had to do was ask somebody, because the thing is that
here's the problem. No one would ask you. Your racist lying ass would say that you were an Egyptian, and you're not. Although you are wearing a wig like they used to wear, and you've got painted on eyebrows real thick. But there are no Egyptians that look like you with that wide nose. Those are the people called Nubians. And Nubians will never be called Egyptians. They're Nubians.
She looked like Kathy Lee Gifford. That's who I thought it was.
She looked like.
No.
I got one. She looks like, get this, you watch Shark Tank? Barbara Corcoran? Yes.
Funny how they try to compare her to this pale white lady. She will try to cover it up in a minute when she sees the comparison in front of her. Also, look how fat the lips are on Nefertiti compared to the thin lips on that other lady. I'm guessing all that she really sees is the aquiline nose and the eyes. And of course, this would pinpoint her as being a Caucasian in the first place.
Come on! Thank you, you're welcome. What a really good dance.
First of all,
with
let
a
me
really
correct
good
everybody.
tan.
We're not saying when we're comparing them to people that those people are ugly.
No.
We're just saying that they're not necessarily what you think Nefertiti looks like.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. Nefertiti is known as being one of the most beautiful ladies. That lady was beautiful, and the statue is beautiful, and the other statue they went off is beautiful. And I'm sorry to say it, but you're not.
Talking about a little more thicker lips, more of a cheekbone. That's what we're saying.
And they want it to be, watch, in a minute they're going to talk about the shade of skin, so they want her to have fatter lips, even though, watch in a second, they'll show you the comparison. And then she wants her to have higher cheekbones. And then stupid things are said about how a mummy looks when it's all emaciated and sucked in, and how the cheekbones stand out. This lady has high, huge cheekbones, like an Indian, and they still don't even pay any attention to it. Higher cheekbones as any women on that panel.
When you actually, she has a smile. Yes. She should have somewhat of a smile. Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, they didn't put a smile on her. They put a regular expression.
See the mummy, because the mummification process is so epic. When you look at it, the cheekbones are so prominent. It's so bold. This doesn't look like the mummy.
You see, your cheekbones don't have very much fat on them, but the rest of your mouth side does. And so when it looks like her cheekbones are sticking out, it's because the rest of it's all sucked in. Maybe you should do some research or think or breathe in and out oxygen. Asian woman defending a lie.
The tweets, because the tweets was like, Harpo, who this?
The tweets was like, Harpo, who dis?
I can't.
Yeah, I'd be laughing if somebody thought that was grammar. Anyhow.
I get it that you guys are so crazy. I get it that some of it is actually factual in the sense of bone structure and muscle structure. Like, that's what they do.
Okay, now, just a comparison. So she finally had to say, yep, it's factual, bone structure, everything. And of course that means the cranium of a Caucasian that they know. It's a Caucasian cranium. And look on her face, it's so sad now that she goes, oh, but. Look how thick the lips are on this. Look how thin the lips are on this, especially the upper lip comparison. You can see how they put the little dents at the corner of her mouth, and she doesn't really have it here. Here she's almost kind of smiling or in a pleasant, this is just straightforward looking, a human, just straightforward looking, just like anybody else would look. They aren't going to put her in some glamour pose. It would look foolish if they did. But sadly, you want her to look foolish. Now I want you to look at the color of that and tell me that that's not real close to the same color as that, even though this is a red tone because it's red ochre. But it's pretty damn good tone. Well, they say when they analyzed it, this is actually 2 shades darker than this is. But where they're going to go with it. Now, would any of them look at the shades on these people. Now, look at the shade of her, even though she's admixed. No, that's a Negro. See? And then, no, see, that's a real dark Negro there. So, no, the only one that looks close to her, kinda, is this one. And, of course, this one is wearing a Caucasian mimicking hair hat, giant wig thing, you can tell, oh my God. And then, but she's more than half white or something. So, I mean, so now all the Egyptians must be mulatto. Funny how the black Egypt just disappears.
My issue is who determines the color.
See? Color now.
I know it's called a genetic.
So she says, yeah, the face structure and cranium, so that's probably right. So then it's going to be a Caucasian. Then she just wants the Caucasian to be more tan. Well, again, if they knew anything about Egypt, there's a edict to keep the woman fair. They had people walk around with fans and umbrellas and stuff over them all. Well, not real umbrellas, but the umbrella things over them all the time if they ever went out. Things like that. A woman was to stay pale. It was an edict they had where the men are symbolically drawn dark because they provide for the women and they're going to be dark, even though a king wouldn't be doing this and would not have gotten dark. And the females are known to be pale. Well, check it out. Black females don't have that. That's not a Negroid trait. In fact, Negroids don't have the trait of caring for their women, really. There's 73% of women, black women in America that are single parents because the men are so playa that they can't quite make up to their commitment. So it's not something that it looks like even their culture even has embraced in any way, shape, or form, but they really want to talk about it. They want it real bad. I guess the biblical word is coveting.
Where you're born is what is the actual color. That's more of a tan. Now the one that
The way you're born is the actual color. Now that's more a tan. So she said she's born black is what she's tried to say right there. That's kind of disgusting. Like she knows something. She know.
you see, that one is
from a museum in Germany, right?
And that's
No, that's from the British Museum, and now it's in the, if it's still there, it's in the Neuss Museum in the U.S. or something. I don't know how you, it's French or whatever, so it's Neuss Museum, which is like, I think right near there, but it was in the British Museum for a long time, and it's famous for it, and I'm not sure it was ever even on exhibit in Germany. But so it just shows you they just don't have a clue to what they're talking about, but they're talking. That's what this show's about.
that's one that was made like in the 1300s, you know. Like,
So she just said that's one that was made like in the 1300s, but no, it was found in the workshop of a guy named Thamoz, who actually was a sculptor and a stonemason. And they found it in his shop, dug it up out of it, totally covered with dirt, cleaned it off, and then they marveled on how beautiful it was, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to mention, that's a blue eye right there. Kind of a hazel blue-green eye. You can see it. There's pictures online where they finally get a picture of it. They don't put it in real good light whenever they have it. They don't want it to fade over time because, you know, this is an artifact. But sure enough, that's a blue-green eye. That's not a Negroid eye. That's not a Negroid face. It's an alkaline nose. Nothing about that's Negroid. She was supposed to be a Mitanni princess. Mitanni princess is Mitanni is upper Anatolia area, up real close to the Caucasus Mountains and real far away from Negroids, which are on the other side of the Sahara, up in there in Sudan is the first place you find them. And of course, those have no genetic connection to the West Africans that are all talking crap right now.
like that.
That
So
looks
that's
nothing
more.
like what we saw
Right.
on the Today Show.
What do you mean that looks nothing like what we saw on the Today Show? You're bitching about the one that you saw on the Today Show, and that is the one from the Today Show. So to say that that looks nothing like the one on the Today Show, it is the one on the Today Show. These people are just ignorant, aren't they? Ignorant. Oh, look how long her hair is now. Can you see her other hair tucked up under the edge of that hair hat? Extensions. Not extensions right now, but she puts them on for the other thing, although that's a mop top. Terrible. People going around yakety mouth talking about crap they have no idea what they're talking about. But they say the people that made the thing don't. They're cranial experts now. They're Egyptologists. Right.